Welcome to Thoughtful Planning, the place where real conversation, expert insight, and a touch of humor meet to turn our end-of-life uncertainties into self-assurance. I'm your co-host, Santiago, a history buff and a big kid at heart.
And I'm Honey, your guide through the intricate dance of planning with care and a whole lot of warmth. Every week, we're here to turn those intimidating "are we ready" moments into confident "everything is under control" moments. Today's journey is one you won't want to miss. Hi, welcome to Thoughtful Planning. I'm Honey.
And I'm Santiago. Today, our essential question is, how can pet owners ensure that their pets are well taken care of and secure in the event of a long-term absence or passing?
All right, so we'll just start off with a disclaimer that we're not lawyers or veterinary professionals. We are dog owners who want to leave our dog in good hands.
Yep. So May is National Pet Month, and we wanted to share a story about our bendy boxer, our boy, our baby, Texx. Mm-hmm. He's a 2-year-old boxer, and he's got a huge personality. He's our third boxer, and it's kind of if he's a mix of our prior 2 boxers, Max and Rex, who've since passed. We've never documented who's going to take care of our pet. And now on this journey, we're documenting this to make sure that Texx is taken care of.
Mm-hmm. So imagine you go on vacation, you put your pet in a kennel, and you're in an accident, or you never return. Do you know who will take care of your dog or your pet?
In her past episode, Stacey Edwards mentioned that you should have an advanced care directive, and there should be 3 of them with 3 backups. So we started thinking about that.
Right. So, yeah, I think it should be the same with your pets. Of course, I'd suggest you have conversations with those people that you want to leave your pets with, whether that's a family or friend. Just make sure that you have their permission, they're in agreement, because it is a huge responsibility to take on a pet and a huge expense. And of course, you can work with an attorney to see about leaving maybe some funds in a trust account. That's something maybe you'd like to ask your attorney to talk about if that's something you want to do. But at least get those people in place and see if they're willing to take that responsibility on. And we recommend at least 3 backups. If you have more, great. You have more.
Okay, so what happens if you don't have a backup or no family member or family friend wants to take your dog? Some of our research showed that there's a couple of things that could happen. 1, your animal would go to a shelter or rescue organization where those organizations would try to rehome your dog. But it could take a lot of time. Shelters might offer foster care to help with the pets until they're adopted. Or there could be a sanctuary that takes your dog in if it's a good fit and they have space.
Mm-hmm. So research also shows that dogs, they do grieve after their owner or even another pet companion passes. So it's best to have a plan in place to allow them to recover quicker.
Dogs grieve in so many different ways, which can include change of behavior, such as being decreased activity, loss of appetite, changes in sleep patterns, vocalizations, just being louder and maybe a little grumpier.
Or maybe they're howling, barking, crying. Maybe those can be some signs too. And so here are 5 tips to help a dog through the grieving process. So tip number one would be maintain a routine. It's important for you to leave this information so your family knows what that routine was. This includes feeding, playing, your time away from home. Maybe you work from home, or maybe when you go out, you only stay out for for us, when we go out, we try to time it and watch our time away from home. We put our dog in a kennel in the house, and we want to make sure we don't leave him here too long. So communicating that with the potential people that will take on your dog should know that also. Also the routine with bath time, car rides, and sleep. One thing I learned actually from a past dog, Max, our dog Max, when he was sick, he had a hard time sleeping. And so there is an app called Calm. There's a sleep story that he absolutely loves, and he would fall asleep to it, which I didn't think it would work, but it did work for Mac. So if you have problems with sleep, I would recommend an app called Calm, and then using the sleep app. Also, another tip to share is physical contact. Texx loves hugs and cuddles. He also loves it when we talk to him. And then playing exercise. Texx loves playing fetch and hide and seek. I mean, he loves hide and seek. So playing can be a good distraction to help relieve the stress and anxiety for your pet. And then tip number 4 is social interaction. If your pet loves going to the pet park, for example, I would recommend working with a veterinarian or a pet behavioral specialist to determine the right time to go back to the park to do that interaction. And then number 5 is seek the help of a veterinarian if the pet has lost all interest and shows signs of depression.
One thing that we had talked about was maybe a go bag for the dog, and having a T-shirt or our favorite toy in there that if something were to happen, they would have that. And then again, that's bringing that normalcy back to their life while you're out for temporary time or longer. Mm-hmm. So here's some questions that Honey posted on Facebook. Or so she solicited questions on Facebook, I should say. Mm-hmm. So, and here's some of the responses. If there's more than one dog, should they stay together? So if you have a pair of dogs, like for a long time, Rex and Max lived together, I would have hated to have seen them split up because they were truly brothers. They would always be together. It should be a great question for potential caretakers, but again, that's a big burden. If the caretaker can take them both, then yes, keep them together. If not, hopefully they're close enough that they get to play together often.
Mm-hmm. Another question that was asked on Facebook was, should you get them a new friend? This is a great question for the potential caretaker. And if they have the capacity, pets are expensive. So, this might be a good option to do if the new caretaker can take on that responsibility.
And we did quite a bit of research on this. I've been looking at this for a bit. Should your dog be allowed to go to a funeral? Well, almost every site I went to said yes, if the dog can behave in the funeral home and the funeral home or church allows it. But it's a way for the dog to get past the grieving process also. They can sense life and death. And the websites that I was reading, and they were from funeral homes, said it's a bit of a closure for them. I would like Texx at my funeral if that happens.
Yeah, and if you have a plan in place and you're communicating with the caretaker, they're going to know who the vet is to talk to for your pet and what medications can help your pet. Yeah. Like for Texx, he does have anxiety. And so, we have medication for that to help him. So that would be helpful. Like, again, if you make a plan while you're clear of mind and communicate this to the new caretakers, yes, to help them be able to cope and get through that funeral. Another question, well, honestly, this was just a question that I had and I was curious about. Should we try to get all brand new items for the dog so there's no smells from the owner's home, or keep the stuff that they already had? And doing some research on this, it said it's best to surround the pet with familiar items during such a significant change. This helps them feel secure and loved. And then over time, as they adjust, you can introduce new items and replace old items as needed if you want to replace them or keep them. But some of the things that we do when we just take our dogs to the kennel or take Texx to the kennel, we always take his dog bed so he has something to sleep in that's soft and it's from home. And then we also will include a t-shirt that we've slept in just to let him know that we're still there. Of course, we include a toy. So those are just some things that also you can do.
And a whole bunch of treats.
Yes, of course, treats.
So I guess the most important thing is just to make sure that you have a plan for your pets, because they're, like I said in the intro, he's our boy. He's with us a lot. And everywhere we go, he's like Chicle right next to us.
And he'd be here right now, actually, except that he's a big distraction and he loves to hug and kiss, and it would be a distraction if we're on a podcast.
So let's circle back to our central question. How can pet owners ensure that their fur babies, or any pet, is well cared for and secure in the event of your long-term absence or a passing?
Right. It's a great question, and one that has helped us, where we've created a document to help us, and we'll be sharing that with you. It'll be a link in the show notes for you to click. It'll be all the information that we were discussing as we are making our journey through this, and we just want to share it with you. So it'll be in the show notes for you. Until next time, remember, every chapter you write today shapes your legacy tomorrow. Thank you for joining us at Thoughtful Planning.
Bye now.
And just like the vibrant hues of a setting sun, we're wrapping up another episode of Thoughtful Planning. Every shared story and insight is a step closer to turning uncertainty into celebrations of preparedness.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, remember that every surprise that comes our way is an opportunity to grow, adapt, and learn. Stay tuned for more stories, expert insight, and of course, a touch of wit in our next episode.
We're not just co-hosts, we're fellow travelers on this journey. For more information on additional resources, which will help you take the next step in planning, look for the link in the show notes for our membership. Join us next time for another episode of Thoughtful Planning. Until then, keep living, laughing, and loving every moment.